welcome back to my channel, and thank you girls so much for joining me in today's video. I'm going to be playing around with some makeup, and I'm also going to be sharing a lot of the things that has been happening to me and basically have a catch-up session with you girls. Let's just jump straight into today's video. Before we get too deep into our conversation, I just want to first start off by saying I'm going to be doing a very natural type of makeup look. Today I'm just rocking a black t-shirt. I am at home and working from home, so comfortable clothes is like a must, and then I'm just using like a black tights, which you can't see. So I notice sometimes when I do these talking videos I'm not so used to that, but I kind of forget that I'm doing the makeup or whatever I was supposed to do, and I end up like talking and pausing the whole time. So starting off with my NYX pore filler, I am just gonna go ahead and just apply this all over my face. My skin has been doing the most. I know I always say this, but it literally gave me the worst beginning of 2023. Like let's just not even get too deep into this, but as you can see, this guy right here just came up all of a sudden out of nowhere, and then another one on my neck. So I know a lot of you suffer with acne and things like that, so you can't relate, but I'm somebody who generally has normal skin. I don't really break out with like pimples or anything. This past month I have suffered with some really very intense discoloration, and this was happening throughout my body, not just my face. So I also suffered with some really puffy eyes. It was like hormones that were raging, I think. So that has been really challenging me personally, and my emotions was just like on a high and a low, and I've just not been the most productive in the past month or so because I've just been going through this whole cycle in my body. Before I carry on with what I was saying, I'm just gonna go into this NYX Can't Stop Won't Stop concealer. This is the color Mocha, and I'm gonna be under contouring. So why am I keep on looking this way? Sorry guys, you here. So I'm gonna be under contouring today, and I'm gonna be using this underneath my foundation. So basically blending out where I would normally contour, but underneath my foundation, and this gives a more natural look. So if you haven't tried this way out before, I highly suggest you should, and please be generous with the product, because so it is going to get covered up, but you still have that beautiful natural bronzed look. Okay, so this is not a tutorial. I need to talk to you guys. So yeah, I've been just going through a lot recently, and in terms of my body, I felt like I was the only one going through this, and it was showing up. Like family and people would just ask me like, what's going on with your face, and what's going on with like your eyes, and why is this looking like this, you put on so much weight, you know, just like random stuff that in a very loving way my family would just notice certain things. I knew it was my hormones that was acting up, but I honestly didn't realize how much it was visible to like people and stuff. So I think the beginning of this year, Wes also suffered, my husband, so Wes also suffered a lot with his face, and he broke out with like this weird allergy. So the both of us was going through the most. We started off the year in the most beautiful way ever. We started off in church, as I said in a previous video, and we just was surrounded by the presence of God. And I took a break after really finding myself again throughout the end part of December. That last week of 2022, I realized that I needed to take some time away from social media. In my mind, I kind of felt like it was going to be like an end of social media for me, and I was going through a lot at the time. I was trying to figure out so much about my career and, you know, just things like that. And I spent a lot of time in just like the presence of God, finding out like what really needs to happen after I take this break, because is it just a break, or am I closing down for good? And fast forward to January 1st, it was New Year's Eve, and I was so hormonal. I was really going through the emotions of this hormonal imbalance thing that was going on with me, and I just felt so disconnected from everything. Like, I really felt the emotions of the world placed on my shoulders. And this day, I just didn't want to do anything at all. Yeah, it was a different start of the year for our entire family. Like, all of us experienced different things this year heading into the new year. So this time around, we all did different things, and I think it was good for all of us because we all got to experience difference, you know. So it was really good. But that night, but I was still talking to God. Like, I was talking to him, but I was still miserable. You know that feeling when you're still in a place where you trusting God, but your emotions are saying, what's really happening with your life right now? So I was just in that kind of space. And what had happened was I ended up going to church, and that night, for me personally, God really spoke into my heart. God really spoke to me as a child of God. I found that I needed to let go of control a bit, and I felt like I've already put so much of pressure on myself, and I wanted so much of control of 2023, and we didn't even enter 2023 just yet, but I just felt like things that I wanted wasn't happening. So I went into church feeling like that, and when I stepped into the presence of God, I just enjoyed worship. Like, that's who I am. I just love worship. And when I just allowed myself to experience God, that's when I got all my answers that I needed. And I started that night off, Wes and I started it off so beautiful. We had every word that we needed from God directly into our system. That night, we if you watched our vlog, okay, for foundation, I'm using the Alegal Pro Matte foundation. This is the shade Light Tan. So I'm going to mix this because it is a bit light for me at the moment. As I said, my skin is not where it needs to be. And then I'm using the Tesh Beauty F330, 1 pump of that. I'm going to mix this and put it all over my face. Yeah, so that night was just really special. It was such a good way to start the year off. And I feel like I've really grown since. But I will say that I've been off social media for that entire month, and it was the most refreshing, most beautiful thing I could have done for myself, my mind, my heart. When I was off social media in that month, I was just in the presence of God. I used my time like really well. I would intercede every single day, and I still do it up until now, but there was nothing else that I needed to focus my attention on, you know. So I really appreciated that time away with God, you know, just him and I. And I found that taking time away is so important, guys. If you haven't done that before, it's something that you should consider. Even if you're somebody who's not on social media as an influencer or anything like that, you should just, I know we all love sitting on our phones and watching everybody else's stuff going on, but you should just have that time just without your phone. Don't pay too much of attention to it. Stop stop focusing on everybody else's life too much, and have that time for you. And I'm telling you, you will really enjoy it. You will really appreciate the time that you take away. So my time was very well spent while I took my break off social media, like content creation and stuff. While I did that, I was also questioning a lot of things concerning social media, and I felt like God had to, sorry, I need to do my mouth part with this. While I was taking my break of social media, I also had many questions for God, and I just allowed myself to be in the presence of God every time I asked those questions. So I would worship, and then sometimes while worshiping, I would ask God questions, and immediately afterwards I would read something in the Bible and I would receive my answers. I felt a deep desire for just changing my lifestyle and changing the things that once made me happy, it didn't make me happy anymore, and I didn't want to change it. It just, my desires changed automatically. It's like every day I would spend more time with God, my desire for life and the day would look different. So normally I would wake up and I would have like my goals and this and that I want to sort out, because I know that I have a certain goal that I want to achieve. So I would work towards those goals, and by working towards those goals, it means that I am putting as much effort into content creation and things like that. But this time around, those were not my desires and my concerns any longer. And that's the thing where I was stuck at for a little bit, because I was like, okay, I understand this, but what does this mean? God, must I completely like give up social media, or like what can I do? And I struggled a lot with this question, because I was ready to give up social media if God said that's what I needed to do. So I even would ask my husband all the time, and he was like, just wait on God and listen to him. Take this time, take this month off, and when you're done in this intercession break time away from social media and you're enjoying God, but just wait. Stop being so hasty to find out the answer like right now, you know. Enjoy what you're doing, enjoy your time away, and when it's time, God will reveal the answer. So I ended up just listening to him, and I still felt deep in my heart like a lot was going to change. I felt that shift inside of me, where God gave me clear answers, and he was like, I created this for you. I created you the way you are. I've made you pursue this, and I gave you the desire to create this and the social media and all of this for now, for this specific time. It's not anymore just makeup. And that's when I felt the shift. It was like, okay, I don't have to shut everything down. I don't have to stop doing social media. So I didn't know exactly what was going to happen next, but all I knew was that I just needed to hear God and be obedient and not be hasty. He gave me a clear word, and it was, this is the time that I actually want you to be on here. But now what's going to happen is the person that you have become and the person that I have made you in my presence, that person is now going to be alive, and you're no longer the person that you once was. And that's what happens when you experience God in every day, is that you become more and more the person that he created you, and not the one that you think you are, or the one that you want people to think you are. God was like, all that is behind you. You are no longer anything else but what I have created you to be. And I felt so much of freedom the past 2 months, well, let's say 3 months. I felt the completeness of God. I felt the freedom of God. I felt his love, his tenderness. I felt his genuine care for me. And if anything I can say is that spending those days and those times with him was just phenomenal. For the eyes, I'm using the NYX Born to Glow highlighter palette. Now these shades are quite beautiful, and I like to just use one single color, especially if I'm just doing like a natural makeup look. So I want to go in with this bronzy shade right here. It's very subtle and soft, so I'm gonna just tap that and just pop that onto the eyelid right at the center. Not too much, just a little bit at the center, and then just blending it out with a fluffy brush. As I was saying, God really changed my desire this past 2 months. I knew that my content was now going to change, and I have a deeper desire, not just for makeup, but for you guys, for sharing the goodness of God in my life with you, so that you can have something to hold on to, and you can be inspired on your low days, or you can just have something to keep you going. And I know on my low days I look for people who are of the same mind and same likeness as God and myself. So I would go and just be inspired again. And we all have those low days, and those low days feel like it's never going to end. So I can agree with many people when I say that you need somebody to help you. I've just been praying about that and making sure that I can be as authentic and real as possible. And I don't want to do anything that is not going to make the heart of God smile. I don't want to be somebody who I'm not. And I'm not saying that I was doing that all along. It's just that sometimes we get so caught up in business mode, or we get caught up in the social media mentality and life, that we tend to even forget who we are. I don't want to be there on social media, on here, to be a just another person who's doing their own thing, you know. I really want to allow God to minister through me and in me. Okay, so I'm using these 2 shades here for the outer corner. Yeah, so I want God to use me in any way that He possibly can, but I am still me. I'm not going to change Nat, the girl that most of you know and love. I'm still me. It's just I'm much more free. I'm much more excited about exactly what I want to do and where I want to go. And most of the time I won't really have all the answers, but I know that as the days progress, God will take me through those days where I feel like I'm completely clueless. I don't know what's next. I don't know what's going to happen. I'm scared. And maybe that's what God wants. He wants me to rely on Him totally. And if you feel the same way, and if you can relate, then my testimony is your testimony. I'm not going to share everything, but I changed in many ways, and I would love you guys to just accept and enjoy the process that's going to happen in future. So I wrote down some stuff just in case I end up talking too much on one particular topic. So the next thing is like the plans that I have for 2023. The thing is, I had a lot of plans for 2023, but I don't know. I'm still just listening to God. Something that I will say is that God allowed me to dive deep back into another passion that I've had from the time I was a baby. A lot of you know that I am a fine artist, and a lot of you don't know that I'm a fine artist, but I've recently picked up the paintbrush again, and it has been I don't even know how to say this, but it has been just the most beautiful, rewarding experience in a long time. I haven't felt this way in a very long time. I was actually going to major in fine arts, and that's when my whole entire career took a detour. I ended up being a makeup artist, and it has been a blessing. Yet I did put the painting and the art side of my life and who I am to the back, and I completely forgot about it for years. And I recently just picked up the paintbrush, and I did a beautiful painting, and I just felt the presence of God in me throughout that painting. I felt like me again. I felt like the little girl that I once was come back, and that's been amazing. So there's going to be lots of art on this channel as well. I'm excited. I'm enjoying my art. I'm rediscovering myself again. Okay, so I'm using the Revolution Conceal and Define. This is the shade. Okay, so I don't know the shade of this. I think it's C10. It might just be a little too light, so I'm just applying it right here, and then I'll go in with this Revlon Color Stay in the shade Cafe, and just pop that right next to the other concealer. But I found my own technique and way of blending with brushes, and I feel like it blends out so beautifully. But I also like using a beauty blender, but it's also just this type of brush that I use. And for setting this, I'm going to use this translucent powder by Yardley. It's the loose translucent powder. And with this powder puff, I'm just going to pick that up on here. Just tap that underneath the eye. I love this powder puff so much because it's like just perfect for getting into that corner. And I also like to take a little bit down those smile lines and underneath the nose, especially the corners of the nose. A little bit on the forehead and on the chin. Okay, so I'm going to let that sit there for a little bit. I'm going to go back into the sparkle palette and also with this brush, I'm going to tap that and that. And then ever so lightly just going in and dusting some powder right there on the temples and dragging a little bit down to that cheek. Just gonna blend underneath my nose just to make my nose a bit shorter, and then contouring with this brown shade straight down on either sides of the nose. Going back to that foundation brush, I'm just going to blend out those harsh lines there. Dust away whatever powder that's on my face. My latest, and well, it's not latest, I've been following Cezanne. I don't know if you guys know her, but she's an amazing YouTuber, and she and her husband and her family are the cutest family around, I tell you. So I basically love watching her videos, and recently I've been just sitting and absorbing like everything that God has been doing in her life, and I feel like we are so similar in so many different parts of life. And yeah, so she's such a huge inspiration to me, so I really love her videos. And yeah, if you guys would like to check her videos out, she's called Cezanne Hendricks on YouTube, so that's where I like to sit and spend some time just watching vlogs and things like that. That's a huge inspiration for me. Another one is Milena. A lot of you are familiar with her. She's a Christian content creator as well. Another one is Tori and Chad. They're amazing. And yeah, I just feel it's important to just share these kinds of influencers and people that you can go and follow, because they really are so helpful in terms of life, family, and just being real and original. So really love them. Another one is Jess and Gabriel, cutest ever. They are very young and very cute, very fun. If that's your kind of content that you like to watch, they play a lot of games, very much like Wez and I. Real goofballs, like them. So yeah, it's cool to just give yourself content that you really can have fun and just laugh and those kind of things. So if you are going through something, whether it's a body thing, whether it's a mental thing, whether it's career change or whatever it is, I'm going to be talking to you guys about how I went through some of these stuff and what really helped me along the way. As a woman, when you're going through hormonal changes and you're unaware of what's going on and you're trying your best to just be healthy, the worst thing that happened to me was, you guys know that I love my Grow with Joe and my working out videos and stuff. I always post it on Instagram, and you know that I work out almost every single day to her videos, and I was doing that, but I was still putting on weight, and I was like, something's not adding up. So I would work out to her videos. Then I thought, okay, maybe I need to up my game, so maybe I need to you know, do some more intense workouts. Maybe my workouts are not as intense as it should be. That's why I'm like gaining weight instead of dropping it. And I would do that, but I would feel like more miserable or angry in the day, and I would feel kind of like more angry than I was before I could start the workout. And usually that would never happen to me, because I know that workouts are such mood boosts, to you, and it helps you in your day so much because you really feel better. And that's how I've always been. But this is how I knew something was definitely wrong. Other than that, my mood would just be on a high and a low. It would just like be extremely happy or extremely sad, and like emotional, and like I would cry and things like that. So I was like, what's going on? I'm spending all this time with God and there's something is definitely wrong. So that's when my face started to change, and I kid you not, I could not wear makeup to cover it up because it looked worse. And people would just like look at me and think like something's wrong with her, because they would look at me but they're not looking at me, they're looking at my face like, are you okay, like that kind of thing. And it really does something to your self-esteem, because it's like, I'm still the same person, I'm just going through like a body thing, and I'm somebody who's not really, I don't really care about like how I look for the day or whatever. If my skin broke out, or if I'm just going through like a messed up season, I'm okay. Like I know it's gonna fade away. But this was really getting to me, because I guess it was just everything all at once. It was like the weight gain, it was this entire part of my face here was like really dark. And there was one day while we were driving to my client's house, Wes looked at me and he was like, you need to take your makeup off. And I was like, why? And he's like, no, it's not looking right at all. And that's like the worst representation. But it was actually it wasn't me or the makeup, it was just my skin. And when I took the makeup off, and he was like, babe, you need to really go and check up, like, and sort your face out, because I don't know what's going on with you, but I can see like something's wrong internally. It's not just your face, but you can see that you are going through something. So that's when I made it like a decision, okay, I need to go and sort this out. So yeah, and guys, I'm not pregnant. I took like tons of pregnancy tests, and yeah, it was negative. So it wasn't that. And at this point in time, I actually am okay. Like, I know that I'm okay. So yeah, it's just a lot of these things were happening all at once, and it really made me feel sad, and it made me feel like something's wrong with me. So yeah, I had to like really figure out what's going on. And in this time I was getting closer to God. I just like held on to God's loving arms. Like every single day I would motivate myself to read the word, and that made me more strong, because even in that moment where I was like so I was so emotional and sad, he would tell me the sweetest things. Like, I'm not even lying, like I would open the Bible and there would be things that would pop right out to help and comfort me in that specific moment. Like, and I would look up like, God, you're right here with me. I know you're here with me, because like nobody else could have told me this, or nobody else knows exactly what I needed to hear right now. As not just motivation, but the word is life. And the word really got me through those hard days. Yeah, I'm not gonna say like, oh, I was okay after that. I did have even worse days, but I always ran back to God, and I always made it my point to just spend that moment with God, because it is the safest place to be, especially when your emotions are so low. I'm just gonna let God tell me his promises. And you know, reading the promises of God is the most reassuring, most beautiful, most comforting, most, I don't even know how to explain it. Think about the time in your life where you felt so inspired or so comforted by somebody's words or their hug. So think of God in that moment making that experience even a billion times better. That is exactly what the word of God does, and who God is to us, because he's a comforter. He is a gentle, loving spirit. And I experience him every day. I experience him every moment. 2 days ago, actually not 2 days ago, it was yesterday morning, I was not motivated to wake up, but I knew I had to. Sorry, it was 2 days ago, because today's Wednesday. So on Monday morning I was like, it's a Monday and I don't feel like waking up. And I said like a prayer, which was like one line, just for God to give me strength. And that day ended up being the most productive day I've had in a very long time. That day I managed to do so many things that I wanted to do in a long time, and I ended up doing all of those things. And when I sat back that night and I looked at everything that had happened in that day, my emotions changed from sad and lazy to happy and productive. My feelings changed, my drive for life, my everything changed. And I realized when I needed that booster shot, when I said that one prayer, it's as if you had a booster shot. You know those health booster shots? It's like I had that. And that's how close God is. You know, sometimes he's so real and so quiet and so direct like that, and he can just change it in an instant. And then sometimes he makes you wait, and he makes you go through the process because there's something much greater that's going to come out of you. And sometimes we are angry at that fact because we want things immediately, but he can see the bigger picture. God has just cultivated the way I think and how I pray. He's a very loving God, and he is always there to make your day much more better and special. And he wants you to have a good day. He wants you to do what he wants for your life. So yeah, I'm gonna stop talking now for a second. I'm just gonna line my lips because I feel like I was talking like this for so long. So let me go and do that. So this is the Allegal lip liner in the color Sugar and Spice. I normally like to just color this all over my lips, but just to give it a little bit of like a lined look, I'll go in with the darker shade. I do have another pencil, but this one is a very tiny one. It's the Smudge Chalk Purple. So I'm just gonna line the outside of my lips just to give some dimension. And a new favorite, the Essence vegan lipstick. This is the collagen vegan lipstick, and it's not matte, but it's a very soft sheer finish with a very natural color. So this shade is called Caring Shine, and it's so pretty. Okay, that is the lips. I'm not a fan of a very strong highlighter, especially recently. I've been skipping out on highlighter, but since we're doing a natural makeup look, I like a glossy natural makeup look. So I do like a soft skin look with a natural glow, nothing like bright lights on the face. So I'm gonna spray this brush, and I'm just gonna tap a little bit on this sheer shade right there. And then I'm going to use a little bit to highlight my ridge of my nose. Oh my gosh. I'm going to blend it just a little bit to the top. I'm going to finish off this very natural look with this setting spray. This is the Maybelline Fit Me Matte and Polish 24-hour setting spray. So I'm going to spray my face with this. This is the final look, guys. I hope you really did like this makeup look. Really love something soft and natural like this. I'm somebody who has evolved over the years in terms of makeup and what I like and what I don't like, and recently I've been loving a natural soft eye makeup look with minimal stuff on the face. I feel like if you're doing a makeup look like this and going out for a glam kind of day, then the face needs to be more highlighted. So maybe like nice under eye concealer, nicely set and soft skin like this, so that will really pick up the look. And if you want to add lashes, you can definitely do so, but something like this is my go-to for events and things like just like day-to-day stuff. It's nothing too heavy, it's nothing that's crazy on the skin, but it's very soft and minimal. If this is a makeup look that you see yourself wearing, and if you happen to do it and take a photo, please tag me in your Instagram pictures. I would love to see your beautiful face. So yeah, that is my makeup. To tie up my catch up with me video, I just want to say that if you're going through a season of change or a waiting season, I want you to know that you're not alone. You are exactly where God wants you to be. And even though it feels like you are very alone at times, there are a lot of us that are feeling the same feelings that you're feeling at the moment. That's a lot of feelings that I just said. So yeah, if you are just waiting in a space where you feel like there's absolutely no way you can see what's gonna happen next, and you're scared and have anxiety about that, I just want to let you know that the most important thing that you can do right now is just do what God told you to do. And that's the word that came over me 3 days ago. I was like, okay, so I know what I'm supposed to do, but what must I do now after this? And that's so funny, because now that I think about it, you know what you're supposed to do. God told you do this, and then he keeps quiet, and then you feel like God's not talking to you, but he just told you what you need to do now. Sometimes he tells us to wait, and that's exactly what you're supposed to do. Just wait. Sometimes he tells you to do this one assignment, and if it's just one, do the one to the best of your ability. Don't wait for another one or like 3 or 4 to be as productive as somebody else, or compare your life to somebody else. Everybody's journey is different. Everyone's day-to-day life is different, and what may be successful for me may not necessarily be successful for you, and vice versa. So I just want you to take every day as it is, the way God intended it for you to for him to have it and for you to experience it. So yeah, our God is good, and he is in no hurry. He's always on time, and he did not forget about you. So just have that in mind, and make sure that you prioritize yourself and prioritize the things that is close to God's heart. Because when you start to see things through only your eyes and only your vision, then the things that God wants for you start to blur out, and then that's where you feel miserable, you feel uninspired, you feel every other negative thing under the sun. And that is why God wants you closer to him, so he can give you the very thing that you need, the desire that you need. He wants to put that spark back inside of you, and some of us need to take some time away to find that spark again, and that's what I had to do. And now that I'm back, I'm excited to just express the best parts that God gave me to give to you. So yeah, I think I am done with today's video. So hope you guys really did enjoy it. If you did, give it a like, share, comment, and do subscribe to this channel if you're not already, and I will see you in my next video.